So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to have you here for the Economy of Communion monthly Hearth Call. And when we set these up at the beginning of the year after San Antonio, we didn't realize how important a hearth would be in 2020. But I'm very thankful we could gather together and encourage one another with what we're experiencing of the unity that we're called to. And our topic today I'm particularly excited about because it's the first of the colors that Chiara talks about in terms of how we conduct our life within our business and our communities. So the color red really talks about the relationships within the business among all the stakeholders. And I took the liberty of kind of paraphrasing what I found about that in the guidelines to being an EOC business that was shared with me by Nick and John and the other commissioners. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and then just we can look at this together. Sorry, I think I brought up the wrong document. There we go. So I think it'd be interesting to explore this today because I think each of us has a different situation that we find ourselves in, but we want to try to deepen the relationships in all the different arenas we find ourselves. So this is about creating a culture of flourishing among the different business stakeholders. So what characterizes an economy of communion business is that its internal stakeholders, owners, and employees work together in a way that builds flourishing relationships. One of the things I really appreciate about the EOC is it's about relationship first and not profit, not structure, not ego, but relationship. Well-defined business functions and processes and their supporting job descriptions. In other words, businesses need a healthy structure that allow each person to contribute her unique talents to serve the business. But these business relationships go much deeper than job descriptions. The EOC culture is a fabric holding all stakeholders together in communion that cultivates abundant social capital. Really, this is the heart of what it means to be an EOC business, is the relationships among the members. Healthy organizations that experience such communion will produce financial profits. EOC stakeholders are encouraged to invest these profits in three ways: to reinvest in the business itself to create additional jobs, to include and care for those in need, and to expand this culture of flourishing among more and more businesses. And so as we discuss this principle expressed in the color red, I would love to hear your thoughts about how this is working well for you, or a way in which you would like to see your role in your business, or perhaps your business grow in this creating a flourishing culture. So we'd love to hear your thoughts and reactions to this.
Well, a very concrete step for us as a business in living this is that a debate I was having with my management team right now before getting on the call is that we applied for the payroll protection program that the SBA, Small Business Administration, has offered, and we qualify. So we technically qualify. We've been approved for a $1.5 million loan, and which could help us, extend our runway, but we still have money in the bank. And it is not clear that things may go completely downhill. It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and as a team, we're leaning towards probably not taking, kind of say, the money, because we feel we're better capitalized than other people that may need it in the community. And which is an interesting discussion that both us as an executive team and the board are discussing. We are probably in a better position that most businesses out there, especially people that are in retail that have lost all sorts of revenue. We still have some revenue. We still close business less than before, but we're still closing business. And so for us living communion, it's about, do we feel right about taking that money where there might be many other businesses that need it to really for survival? But for us, it would be comfort, that we have
Mm-hmm.
more cushion, and probably we don't have to make tough calls way down the road. Okay. And so and so for us, it means really going beyond the letter, which is, okay, we applied thinking was the prudent thing to do. We got the money awarded, and now is it the right thing to do? And I think for me, living community is probably not taking it, as a way to look at the bigger picture there. And so it's a small example. The other thing that makes me think here is like, I think the sharing of profits is only one way you live communion. It's not just always about money,
Yes.
but it's also about, sharing talents, and share, can I say, knowledge and skills and time, and so many ways in which we can share on a daily process, on a daily basis. So.
Yeah, really appreciate that, Nick. I'm just curious too, there's a lot of factors I know leaders and businesses have to consider. And certainly one of them is your own need, the need of other businesses, but also, yeah, I mean, I think that's a really tough call and difficult to discern. I was just thinking too, maybe the opportunity that a loan might give you in terms of um, providing service maybe to additional folks who maybe couldn't afford what you provide at full cost. So I was just curious if there were other considerations, like you said, the non-monetary ones that a loan could help facilitate, and to the degree that that entered into your thinking.
No, listen, it absolutely. I think it's part of a larger thinking in the business. One thing we did as the crisis hit is that we realized we would have customers that would be in dire straits. Many of our customers had expenses completely frozen, had to cut costs dramatically, and yet they have needs. And so we had started offering, a set of free services. In our case, we do risk assessments.
Mm.
Risk assessments related to work from home scenarios. What is the risk from the cyber perspective in working from home and being a setup where data travels over the internet? Or what's the risk of increased phishing attacks where people pretend to be your colleagues and try to, and we're offering the service for free in ways we've never done before. And we're starting to see also the first fruit. We did it out of, I think because we felt it was the right thing to do. I think on the other side, we're starting to see some benefits in that we're making a lot of friends in the process, people that feel like they're being helped, and let's see what happens in the long term. Maybe there's a hundredfold, or maybe not, but we did it, with the expectation that it was the right thing to do, without expecting much in return. Then if benefits come in, and we get a lot of goodwill and maybe future business, that's great. That's icing on the cake. So
Yeah, so I think that's really cool to extend free services to those who need it, and provide something of value. And I think that's a great example, right, of where the positive relationships within the company, because you have to have the support of your board, your employees to do that, right? Because I could imagine it'd be easy to feel like, well, gee, Why aren't we looking out for ourselves more to keep that um, concern for the common good front and center, I think is nothing like putting it into practice, right? Or at least trying to put it into practice. How about others of you? Yeah, this write-up is really designed as a springboard for conversation about any aspect. I know in talking to um, some folks have an actual business purpose that puts this relationship at the center of your business purpose. Other companies may not have that. Um, just curious if any of you are thinking, gee, given this climate, we maybe need to, whether we actually put it in a statement anywhere, live more deeply into that sense of our purpose is to create communion, is to create relationship, is to create a way of being in the world.
I can speak about my business and what I am doing right now.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Think about a situation that placed like 2 weeks ago, but I have been doing this for similar things for a little while since the pandemic started. A couple of weeks ago, one of my friends, one of my networking groups asked me, Paulina, her husband has a business, and then she was very worried about her husband's business because they found out that one person had a coronavirus. So it's anyway, to make it long story short, and she knew that I could help her husband. And then in the company, there are problems with communication because the owner only speaks English and the workers speak Spanish. So she asked me to help her out to see what I could do for them. So, I created, I tried to collaborate with them, and then I created some type of information that they could use for the time being. And then, I did it just to collaborate with them, to create a relationship with them. So that's what I did, and she was she is very helpful, very thankful for that. So, I think I just happened. And then another thing is also being helping other clients with similar ways. People are confused, so I provide materials, and then I do it out of the kindness of my heart, for free. But I see that they see the value, and then of that. And these are my clients, and then I keep doing it, and I don't know what will happen, at the end. But I think if I help them at the time when there is a need, because I have information, even though right now they don't pay me, but then at least I know I am opening doors, and then at the end, I am making the relationships between us stronger. And at the end, that's really what really counts. And I know they value that.
Yeah, I think that's really wonderful to find ways to serve concretely, to build relationship. And as one of the commissioners likes to say, it gives Providence an opportunity to strike and to show up, rather than feeling we have to, to be in control, but just to be generous and to see what happens. Yeah, I guess it's a lot like, this time of year, at least in Colorado, we're thinking of planting gardens. And so you plant seeds or small plants, and you hope they'll grow up, and you hope the hail doesn't wipe them out, but you're trusting that something good will grow over time.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Kiara.
Okay, great. Hi. I don't have an economy of communion business per se, but I do want to speak out for Elizabeth Wallen, who is one of our young people who has started a business, a nonprofit, to help incarcerated women. And what the Youth Center North America has decided to do recently is to encourage all the young people that we're in contact with to purchase some of the items that we have created, t-shirts, mugs, and a tote bag. And part of the proceeds will go to benefit this Project Leah of Elizabeth Wallen. So that was something that we just thought we could offer as a network, another outlet for this young person who's doing something concrete for her community. And of course, in this period, we figured she must need it even more to help her people. So that was just a little experience that we're trying out. We don't even know how much it will end up rendering, but it's maybe a symbolic gesture that we are launching out there. We'll see.
Oh, nice, Kiara. Do you mind if I just ask a couple of follow-up questions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Who are you reaching out to get the word out, or how are you doing that? Because I think that might give others of us ideas of ways we could promote, right, people we know.
Right. So basically, this week is called the United World Week, where all the young people of the Focolare is there. We're all working with different associations around the world, and this week we even had like a webinar last night where we invited everybody in our social media. And we shared about what we were doing, part of which is this. And we also had Liz Wallen was part of a podcast that was put together by some of the young people of the Focolare. And she was interviewed in terms of what she's doing. And so all of that is available in the ycna.focolare.us website.
You know, feel free to add that in the chat so everybody can see it, Kiara.
Okay.
And then also, I was going to say, this is a great example, you know, thinking in business terms of so bringing a market together or creating a market, you know, of like-minded people, which the Focolare has, of course, and basically saying, hey, there's an opportunity for you to buy these goods that one of our members is producing, but it's so that she can serve her community, right? To provide jobs for women who are coming out of incarceration. So to me, this is one of the most powerful ways that we can really build those relationships. And again, thinking in business terms, when you bring buyers and sellers together, right, you're creating a market, and the relational market already exists. We have, as that little document says, we have tremendous social capital represented among people who are on this call. And if we just kind of put the word out to our networks, it can be a way to I think, make a real difference, not only personally, but you know, lots of businesses are using this as an opportunity to promote nonprofits that are serving segments of the community that are underserved. So lots of good ideas there. Thanks, Kiara.
Thanks. And Jonathan Wallen is the father of Liz Wallen. He's on the call right now. I pass the word to him.
Glad you could join us, Jonathan, and please tell Liz we love what she's doing and are going to get behind her.
Yeah, I will pass that on. Thank you.
By the way, you know, I think communion is also sharing needs. It's not just sharing, you know, what you can offer. And so along those lines, Jonathan, can you tell us in what ways maybe this crisis has affected Liz's business? And so we can understand her needs as well, given that some of us have been helping and supporting. So.
Well, her business basically was closed down in Indiana, or apart from the county in which she resides, which is in Indianapolis. Indiana is beginning to open up I think she would do so soon. So obviously, production, the work they have, they basically are producing objects for the home made out of discarded materials, wood, cloth, stuff like this. So that's the business side. They haven't been able to produce. They also have a contract where they're refurbishing windows, in this, which is used by the company which maintains the space where they rent. So in that sense, they have not really had the opportunity, apart maybe for some online sales, the opportunity to produce income in that fashion. She has been fortunate, though. She's in the process of applying for a PPP loan, has been accepted for that. It's a small amount. She's also, just before everything started, she took on someone to help her. There's herself, there's also at least at the moment one woman in training. They've all been maintained over this period. She's been maintaining, or been trying to maintain them on payroll. So, you know, but she's also had gifts. Gifts have been coming in. And actually at the moment, she probably is, from a cash flow perspective, reasonably well situated for the short term. You know, this is a project which is sort of, does not have a permanent footing yet. It's still very much a startup, but it's surviving, and despite the crisis, is in a position to go beyond there. But it's unfortunate, you know, this time of year there would be a lot of street fairs and stuff where they would be able to go, you know, and that sort of word of mouth obviously is going to be much more limited this year. So support from others, either, as I say, through online sales, or the possibility of others buying goods to sell in their view, would obviously be something. So, but so far so good.
Well, thanks for that update, Jonathan. That's it's good to hear, and is, you know, I'm thinking we all know young adults who are starting up businesses or maybe recently lost jobs, like my daughter. Yeah, what any words of how we might be an encouragement to Liz, just relationally? Notes. I mean, I don't know what
Yeah.
kind of encouragement or support that way is helpful for her.
Yeah, sure. You know, yes, you can be contacted through projectleah.org, her website. You know, yeah, I'm sure people appreciating what she's doing, showing appreciation, is fantastic. You know, it means that she's being noticed, and that's good. You know, at this time, so I'm sure she would appreciate that sort of support. You know, the fact that the YCNA reached out. You know, again, she's being recognized for what she's doing. You know, I think that's important, because that helps maintain the momentum, right? You know,
Oh yeah.
This support, you know, it's recognition of the value people see in what she's doing.
So I think again, it comes back to relationship being foundational, both within our businesses, but also as we, in a real sense, we're talking about how is it that we live this life of communion between businesses, and one of the other colors really addresses that much more. But one of the ways that we live out the values is by supporting businesses that are like-minded, right? That are seeking to serve our neighbors and seeking to really have the kind of deep relationships that allow trust and the ability to weather these difficulties.
Yeah, so this is Paul. I can share something about that. But by the
Thank you,
way, thank
Paul.
you, Nick, about your sharing about the PPP, this payroll protection program, because I also am struggling on that and trying to see what's fair, what's just, and what's equitable. So I'm also in the middle of discernment on that. But one of my clients, the project where we produce a lot of things for the subway stations, when back in February, when there was a lot of need for ventilators, so they shifted their whole production to producing ventilators instead of producing this telecommunication equipment for the subway. And within a month's time, they were able to work together with MIT, with some of the doctors, and they were able to incredibly shift their focus to producing that. But they were on a bind because there was they needed labor, and it was so hard to get people to come to the place and work. So I said it's natural for us to say, hey, there's a business, there's someone in need. Let's go help out. So I volunteered to help out. But then when I mentioned that to my staff wanted to volunteer too. And then when I mentioned that, then the other people and other engineers and other companies starting to volunteer. So that was, it's nice to see that this culture that we try to do within our company has also impact on other companies. And that to me is also much more rewarding to see how companies look at how we run our companies, how we relate with our employees and our staff, and that affects them. So also I have another experience where another company, knowing how I bring in other disadvantaged workers or people who are in the fringe, they started doing that too, hiring people that don't have the best resumes or don't have the best backgrounds, just to see and they're proud doing that, saying, look, we're doing what you're doing, because I think in the business we all look at other businesses and what they do and how they treat their employees, and the actions and the employees themselves become they become the witness of what we're trying to do. Without talking so much, people see it. Yeah, it's a commitment, because once you go through this, try to be ethical, just, and valuing relationships. Every day there's decisions that need to be made, whether that's in reference to making profits or monetary profits or relationship profits. Sometimes they're on opposition, and it requires a lot of discernment. And I think in forums like this, it's good to be at. So like just with Nick sharing how they're discerning about the PPP or LEA, Project LEA, the struggles that they do, it helps to bounce these ideas and to see that there's a way to go forward.
Yeah, Paul, in your discernment process, because I think this is helpful for all of us who are asking the question. I'm, also applied for a PPP loan. So yeah, what other questions or thoughts you have about how you discern or what factors to weigh, right, as you consider, and I know your situation, every one of our situations is different, right? But how do we weigh that and kind of evaluate what factors, might be helpful to consider?
Yeah, so couple of things. So when that program came out, because I knew that most of my staff have to work remotely, so most of the projects that we're working on will I just didn't know, there was a lot of unknown. So we applied for it and we got it. Then when we received it, I said, oh my God, now there's a lot of implications to it. And one of the things was that they take your payroll from last year. They look at your full-time equivalents and and that compares to the next eight weeks. So I said, and in calculating, we says, well, last year we had more employees or more part-times, but this year there's less. So I'm gonna, some of that loan will not be forgivable, what they call forgivable. So then a thought or our suggestion said, well, we gotta put people to work so that we maintain our employee from last year, the count, because that was on the applications. They look at what the last year, how much employees you have, and if you lost some or the equivalent, then that part of the loan is not forgivable. So a thought came to me and says, well, we should put these people to work, even though there's no work. Let's try to invent so that, you know, in a sense, it's a free labor. So I said, I got to think of something so that they're working and it's free labor. Right away, that was the thinking. But someone says, no, that's fraud. You know, plain and simple. You know, not good. I mean, and I also read the story of Shake Shack, and I said, wow, look at that. That's nice. They're giving back that 10 million because they have. They don't need it. That's part of it. Part of it is discernment, a lot of prayer, and a lot of also, I think morally and ethically, when a windfall comes to you, you always kind of think, I said, wow, this money, this is. I like to think of money as capital of God. It is from God coming to you, and we are administrators on that, and that drives a lot of the decision making for me. It's that and the fact that the end does not justify the means. As well, this money you can give it to the people, the employees, but if it's not the right way, it's not right for the employee, not right for me, and not right for everyone else. So that's sometimes it's clear cut, but many times it's not a clear cut. So so I run it together with run it through my board of directors, some of the people, and it's good to have feedback from many people, many different minded people also, so that it's not just one type of people that's giving you suggestions, but to have different inputs and to value everyone's input, even though it sounds so outlandish or so out of the box. But I think everyone's input always had something to contributes to what is the right way to do.
Yeah, I think, wow, a lot of excellent points there, Paul. Just, you know, I think of other values of the economy of communion, how employees, workers, board members, all the people in your business stakeholder group, right, are to have a voice, to be listened to. And like you said, some may be ill-informed or have crazy ideas, but that's all part of listening and being a communion together. I also appreciated what you said about really being clear that the end doesn't justify the means, you know, and you could have artificially said, well, I've got to use at least 75% of this money towards payroll. And so whatever I do to get there is good because I'm employing people. Well, but if it's fraud, of course it isn't, right? And so the voice of people who, you know, are really clear-minded and able to kind of cut through and see it. I mean, that's important to listen to as well. So that's very helpful, Paul. Thank you. A lot of good thoughts there. And I think too, the other thing you said about how other businesses are watching what you do and how you do it in terms of who you choose to hire. And I think in the same way as your employees are listening to your process of how do we deal with this loan opportunity, should we take it or not, right? That's another great way to set a positive example in the business community you're a part of.
Hi, John.
Hi, Floral. How are you?
Yeah, fine. I just thought, also thank you for all the experiences that has been shared. No, they're very much uplifting. I think for us here in the Philippines, the situation is a little different, but also it's understanding also the role of providence in the whole thing. No? For us, we run the Focolare Carpentry in Manila, no? And we employ 80 people. But part of the next part of the program that we do is a training center, a Focolare Carpentry Training Center on the side, no? And here we have about close to another 50 young boys, you know, that we train for skills and values, you know, so that they become employable after 2 years. These are out of school youth who are children of economically disadvantaged families. No? When the lockdown was announced here, half of the trainees went home and they could not come back. No? So there were about 13 trainees that were left in the office. Meanwhile, we had 80 employees and none of them could go to work. We did not have new business. No fresh payments came in. And we thought we will just be locked down for 4 weeks. And so we looked at what the resources we had, and we saw that it could last, whatever we had, could last us for 4 weeks if we use only 60% of payroll, no? That could be applied against used earned vacation leave or sick leave, no? So that the people could continue to put food on the table, no? And so we were doing that. But meanwhile, we thought to also tell our people the situation, no? We, from out of nowhere, one of our clients, we called her the Good Samaritan, sent some food packs to our people who had been locked down in the office. Now, because we have a dormitory for the trainees, no? And these 13 trainees got food packs, no? But they said, but these food packs and the allowance that they were getting could last them the 4 weeks, no? But they realized that they had other co-trainees who went home to the provinces, but they were not getting anything, no? So even with the little that they have, these are young boys, no? 18 to 20 years old. And they said, but we have enough. And so they said, but we have 22 other co-trainees who are at home and they have hardly anything, you know? And so they said, let's see what we have, and we have a surplus, no? And they were able to put together additional 22 packs for their friends, for their co-trainees, no? And so they said, okay, let's find a way to bring them there. There's a Focolarino also that works with me in the carpentry, and he said, okay, let's do it this way. You boys, with the other boys on the other side of the province, you must have had some misunderstanding with some of them. Put some notes in the food packs. Say, hello, how are you? I'm sorry, I had a misunderstanding with you. I had a grudge, stuff, things like that, you know. It's you know, and so the young boy said, that's a good idea. And so they found a way. They sent this to this small town that had 22. But when our Focolarino got there, he saw a town that was really poor, and there were another 500 families that had nothing, you know. And so I said, how could this be? I'm only bringing 22 food packs. And so he said, I'll write the governor, I'll write the city council to tell them about it, no? But even the city council was poor. They couldn't do anything. Meanwhile, we talked to the young people, our Youth for United World and Noche, they have a project they call the Noche Buena Project, and the Bukas Palad and all the other social actions of the opera in the Philippines. And they were able to put together another set of food packs. No, this Good Samaritan heard about it, and so she sent another 100 food packs, and and with the young people and other social actions, put together another 550 packs. So they were able to put together 650 packs for the whole community. No? And I said, in times of this pandemic and this is the multiplication of the bread. No, this is miracle. You have a God that cannot be outdone in generosity. And so that was one part. No, and so we said, okay, we're good. We will be back after 4 weeks, just enough that our resources is finishing. The government announced another 4 weeks of lockdown, no? And so we said, but how is that, no? Anyway, we told the local commission about it, and they said, okay, in case you will need help, let us know, and we will find a way to give you an interest-free loan, no, to sustain the employees, no. So we were saying, okay, at least we still have 2 weeks to go, 3 weeks, 1 week to go. On the last week, a client came to us and said, okay, I think this is a big client that we had, and we wrote to them. We told them about our situation. We said, despite the loss of business and no fresh cash, we're using whatever we have to pay our employees 60% of what they were supposed to get, so that they can continue to bring food to the table. And so these guys, felt, well, okay, let's see if we can do something. Just on the last week that we thought our resources was going to very critical low level, these guys paid us a big amount, no? And we said, oh boy, this is really providence, and it will last us the next 4 weeks. No? And so now we're very happy. We will be able to sustain our employees until until the last 2 weeks that are coming, because hopefully we would be back to operation in 2 weeks' time. But that the story doesn't end there, because we have to prepare. Now there are new protocols of health safety, social distancing. So now we have to think of how we will go back to recovery. It's a furniture shop with 80 people. About 60 of them are on the ground with machines, with varnishing, with cutting wood, and with this stuff. So now this is a challenge for us. The government also has very strict health protocols that we have to follow. But slowly, we are telling our people that we have to prepare for this, and they're also doing their part, also contributing ideas, but in this, I like earlier what Jonathan said about communion of needs. I think it was Jonathan, or anyway, it's really to share also the needs, to be transparent enough to say that yes, we also need this. In that connection, also here we have 2 or 3 small companies of the EOC that really employ 2-3 people, and they lost their jobs. They have nothing to feed their families, and the EOC came into the picture. But now this is not only the Philippines, because Korea has helped us. The young people in their campaign were getting help from Hong Kong, and it's really this network that we have among us, no? If we share also our needs, God channels providence through His people, no, through us, no. This is an experience. It's an ongoing experience, and we were really just, we say thank you, Kiara, no, and then that's it. Thank you for listening.
Floro, thank you so much. Wow, I feel like I'm listening to a modern day parable, right? I mean, that's so powerful to hear of the way that that God just multiplied the small gifts, right, that were given and received, and just at the right time. I mean, especially this most recent payment from a customer. How incredible!
Yeah.
And
But
it's
John, yeah, sorry, John. What really was for me was more significant was this act that these young people had in them. No, when they had very little, but when they heard that the others didn't have anything, they even had to share of the little that they have. No, and
mhm,
perhaps because in our training program, we also put values formation, those who would like to join the Word of Life meeting, but we have catechism for those who would like to receive it. But also in the day-to-day work that we do with them, no? These are young boys, they see us, and we do try to be the big brother for them, and it must have it came from them, just out of spontaneously to say that, but we have other brothers in need, and it's really, I was saying, but this is the gospel lived. This is the gospel lived.
absolutely, it really is. Well, thank you, Floro. That personally, I'm incredibly encouraged by hearing the gospel lived. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Others,
Yeah, if we have some time, I can share something too.
oh yes, Vic, please,
Yeah,
please
Vic
do.
from the Philippines also.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, I think what happens here is the unity between the EOC companies in the Philippines is quite strong, such that one of the first things that we did was that through a similar Zoom, to try and find out how each other's companies were, and try to understand really in what way we could help one another. And I think that it was a strong experience which had encouraged the others to go ahead and become innovative in trying to pursue other things. We mentioned two things here. How was it possible? You're looking for experiences wherein we're trying to help one company help other companies. Okay, I have a company. We have a family company. It's we're specialty contractors that do air conditioning, plumbing, and fire protection works for commercial and industrial buildings. And as such, we belong personally to two organizations. One organization is the General Contractors Organization, which I was a former officer. And the other one is this specialty organization for the air conditioning contractors. Among the private sector here, even without involvement of the EOC, there is a lot of help and goodwill already. They're the first ones who responded to the needs of the society in general. No? The bigger general contractors, the bigger boys, they started to mobilize in helping the government convert certain public facilities into COVID facilities and all these things. No? And then little by little, they started to help other hospitals. No? Our story starts when we received a call from this General Contractor Association to donate about 80 smart houses, which were to be converted to COVID facilities, no? Which were supposed to be distributed towards the northern part of the country. The call was to ask from our group for people who can do the air conditioning installation at a donation. So immediately we started to, because having been an officer of this air conditioning company, we started to reach out to this company, to the president right now, and the result was magnificent, no? Because in a span of about 2 days, we were able to complete, no? There was a team of about 8 different contractors who responded to this call, and I said, okay, I'll take care of this one, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of that. And mind you, it was, I felt an experience more of really this care, trying to help each other, when in fact outside what happened, we can be the fiercest of competitors, no? Being competitors this time, because of this need, we felt that from competitors we became brothers, no? That one company would, because of proximity, want to do this, but suddenly run out of some materials, no? And I said, okay, our facility is very nearby. We have some stock. Listen, I'll give them to you, no? These were for the circuit breakers which he needed in order to complete his facility. And before you know it, another company said, okay, we are suppliers of copper tubes and insulation. We want to be part of it too, no? We'll go in and do it, no? And so right here on a community basis, we felt that what made it possible more than anything was because also of the relationships that existed between these companies. Now I share a little bit about our experience in the company as far as this pandemic is concerned. We have about 980 employees, and like Floro, a lot of our employees would come from the poorest members of society, you know? And immediately our biggest concern was what happens now, you know? There's no production. Our cash flow wasn't in the best scenario. But the immediate need we felt, no, together with my brother, my cousin, and other officers of the company, was to make sure that food was on the table. After brainstorming, we came out with what we call this bayanihan, the heart and soul of the company. No? The bayanihan is a local term which means, bayanihan is a local concept where you help one another. You help one another build houses so that by the time that you're the one in need, the others will also help you. So it's really simple. We started to put seed money, okay? I was retired last year, and from my retirement pay, I put in a sizable amount to this bayanihan fund, you know? And encourage other people who can, you know? Those who work from homes and continue to receive their salaries, others put, okay, I will not receive any portion of my salary, I'll put everything to this pot. And the others, to what they can, sometimes a portion of it. Some said, okay, can you deduct this much from my next salary and all these things. No? Sooner or later, this pot multiplied. And from this plot, we tried to understand also the cash flow of the company. We said, okay, whatever is put into this seed money, the company is going to match. No? So pretty soon we were, like Flora, able to meet the needs for the payroll for 15 days. No? And just as soon, we also had a similar arrangement. No? First, the idea is making sure that everybody has food on the table, okay? All the leaves, the unused leaves, we converted to cash. We have here what we call a 13-month pay, which is normally given at the end of the year so that they have something to spend for Christmas. But because of the needs, we've already done 1 quarter of the year. Let's give out 1 week's pay for this one, okay? And throughout these things, no, again, the providence is never lacking. just when we were scratching our heads and trying to find out where we could get this need, suddenly a company offers to pay us online. And even trying, it came. One of the bigger things that happened here, to my amazement, this bigger contracting company came out with a big brother help. We have projects as subcontractors to their jobs. And they said, okay, for every employee that you have in our job site, we're willing to give out a one-time fixed amount. And, immediately I called the president of that big company. He said, all these things will really go a long way, And so these things really come, and we felt that one of the effects of this was this communion, immediately these relationships. I mean, we don't do it, no doubt, without expecting anything in return from these employees. It doesn't matter how long they've been with the company. They've been with the company 10 years. Others have been there for 2 months. Not putting any comparison. What's important is everybody received a certain amount to have food on their table. And the experience continues, because right now we say that, as Floro said, maybe in about 2 weeks we will open. Maybe we will not. The government changes its minds. It's all of a sudden. But everything really, I think that well, the gospel is true. You give. For us, it was a big step to be able to put this thing together. But God is never outdone in generosity, in the sense that it comes. It always comes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vic. Oh my gosh, such another inspirational experience, right? Of living out the gospel and seeing new ideas come of this seed fund that you talked about, and seeing how it really multiplied. And yeah, this payment online out of the blue, another wonderful, wonderful gift. Well, gosh, I can't believe that the time has already flown by, but thank you everyone for your presence and for listening and for learning and to sharing, just sharing your presence and taking in the stories that have been shared. I hope you feel inspired to trust and look for providence at work. My wife and I like to say, God has angels and adventures for us this day. So this day and in this coming month, until we meet again in a month, may you see those angels and have adventures. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to looking at the next color, and I'll send out something ahead of time for us to consider. So thank you all, and look forward to seeing you in a month.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yes.